Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi wa kafa, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da wa ba'ath. Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he is now starting with Surat Al-Baqarah. Last week we had gone through and completed it-Tafsir on Surat Al-Fatiha, and we had gone through the different qira'at within Surat Al-Fatiha in which someone could recite certain passages differently based upon the qira'at. Surat Al-Baqarah will be no disappointment in this regard. It has the same perfections and specialities that Surat Al-Fatiha possesses. So we must look carefully, because at one point, inshallah, not this week, but our next week, I will want to actually give a layout, perhaps even a spider graph, of how the companions filter down to the qira'at that we have. So someone has a better understanding of the companions that were at certain events, because you'll find Hikam ibn Hizam reciting Surah Al-Furqan, with some difference being in the Ayat between how Umar ibn Al-Khattab radiallahu anhu recited it. There's a statement in the Sahih of Al-Bukhari where Umar actually brought him to the Prophet ﷺ and said he's reciting it to a different way than what I had learned. To which the Prophet ﷺ told him to recite and stated that this was revealed, that it was correct. And what Umar recited, that was also correct. So we have to understand these are revelations that have been brought, and if there's more than one way to recite it by the permission of the revelator, then we must accept that. This is different to if we're talking about corruptions or variants, which is a struggle that Christians and Jews to this day are dealing with, because you can't go back to a Mosaic historical document and say the Prophet Musa alayhi salam would have recited this passage this way or this passage this way, because the original Torah came down on slabs of granite that were revealed in two massive blocks. And obviously the transfer of knowledge from those granite slabs onto the vellum rolls, much has been lost. Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he begins by stating, quote, "We will look at Surah Al-Baqarah, but before going into its commentary, let us look first at the virtues of this surah." Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he said, "Do not make your houses into graveyards. For a surety, the house in which Surah Al-Baqarah is recited in it, Shaitan shall not enter into such a house." This is collected by Imams Muslim, Tirmidhi, and Nasa'i. It was also narrated from Abu Umama, from the Prophet ﷺ, that he said, "You should recite the two lights that illuminate the heart, Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Imran. These two shall surely come on the day of resurrection, as if they are shades or two canopies or the outspread wings of a bird flying overhead to shade the person." Recite Surah Al-Baqarah, for taking hold of it is barakah, and leaving it is a loss. And the one trying to obey what is within it shall not meet with loss. And this is collected by Imam Muslim. it needs to be remembered that the statement in this hadith about the two illuminations or the two lights is referring to anything that illuminates. And the fact that they are referred to as two canopies means anything that shades the human being over his head, like the clouds, like the rain clouds that move overhead. Someone often can say in the Arabic idiom, the people shaded the head of so-and-so with the blades of their swords, meaning that they had shaded him with the sword before killing him. The poet Labid Ibn Al-Asam said, let the caravan move forward, and on the earth let there be the shade of the children running over it. And this is a very important point. In the hadith, the word farqan was used, meaning two divisions of something. Sometimes a division can be a slice or a piece or a section of something. As Allah has said, mighty and majestic is He. فَكَانَ كُلُّ فِرْقٍ كَالطَّرْدِ الْعَظِيمِ. And so, when Musa motioned with his stick, the body of water split into two divisions that were mighty like a wall. Surah Al-Shu'ara, the 26th Surah, Ayat 63. So, this is showing us that the division has to do with a section of something. As far as the statement in the hadith about the bird flying overhead and shielding the one needing it, the one who is reciting it is the one that is shielded. And the one who is protected from the time that he recites it. Normally this is referred to as in the morning or in the early part of the day. The reasons for its revelation were mentioned by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, in which he said that it was the first of what was revealed in Medina. This is also the statement of Al-Hasan, Mujahid, Ikrimah, Jabir ibn Zayd, Qatada ibn Da'imah, Muqatil. And some people have also mentioned that the entire surah is Madani, with the exception of one ayah, in which Allah, mighty and majestic, has said, وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. So, have fear of a day in which you shall be returned therein to Allah. Surah Al-Baqarah, the 2nd Surah, Ayat 281. This particular passage was revealed on the day of sacrifice at Mina, on the final pilgrimage. Now let us look at the surah itself. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As far as the tafsir of the surah, we begin with the words Alif Lam Mim. The scholars have differed with regard to these letters and the rest of what are called the disjointed or disconnected letters in the beginning of some 29 surahs. There are 6 statements from the ulama with regard to this matter. One position is that these belong to the mutashabiha, in which no one knows it except Allah. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu said, Allah has a secret in every book. The secrets of Allah in the Qur'an are the beginnings of the surahs with those disjointed letters. And this position was also advocated by Al-Sha'bi, Abu Salih, and Ibn Zayd. The second position is that these letters are names. And so when these letters are used, one is mentioning names of Allah, mighty and majestic. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu stated that they are names, disjointed names. And if people knew what these names meant, they would have known the name of the name of Allah, which when he is called by it, he answers every supplication. Close quote. The Imam is referring to what is often referred to in common parlance as Al-Ismul A'zam, the greatest name of Allah, in which he had stated in a number of ahadith, perhaps 2 or 3, a number, that whoever mentions this name in supplication, their supplication is most assured to be answered. Some of the ulama have understood that the name is Al-Hayy and also Al-Qayyum, or it's located in the opening sentences of Ayatul Kursi in Surat Al-Baqarah, the second surah, Ayat 255. The reason for that is a statement in a hadith in Sahih Al-Jami', where the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the name could be found in that opening section. Other ulama, outside. Other ulama, like Sheikh Abdul Qadir Al-Jilani, have stated that the greatest name is Allah. This is the position of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Al-Jilani, his 3 or 4 khulafa, and other ulama. It's not the only position, but it is a position. Their statement and reasoning for that is the plain text reading of Surah Al-Baqarah, the second surah, ayah 186. When my slaves ask you about me, I am near, and I answer the prayer of the one that calls upon me. Based upon the plain sense reading of this text, Sheikh Abdul Qadir Al-Jilani rahimahullah and his khulafa understand that the Ismul A'zam, the greatest name of Allah, is Allah, because he has promised in that ayah that he's firstly said he's near to his slave, and that when he calls on me, which is a non-conditional statement, when he calls upon me, I answer him. I answer him. Okay, so that's going to be there. Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi rahimahullah, although that is his position, he tries to walk a balanced line. So he's not going to go into that very much here. He's going to try to keep a balanced line so as not to steer anyone's position towards his, because it's known that many people have a different position.